Hi, it's content producer Sheri Taylor, and you may have seen reports about the rise of the coyote population in our state. I spoke with a wildlife expert to see what, if anything, north of Charlotte needs to worry about and how to keep you, your kids, and your pets safe if you come across one.
Coyotes just arrived in North Carolina right around back in the 80s, and their populations have been increasing as they spread across the state. But at this point in 2023, their populations are pretty stable. However, this is the time of year where they're having pups. And so, of course, seasonally, there aren't more coyotes on the landscape. So this is the time of year where you're most likely to spot a coyote while it's wandering around trying to get enough food to feed its young.
And stay back because they are very territorial.
So a human being doesn't really have to worry about a territorial coyote, but a dog, say if a person is walking their dog and they have a larger dog that kind of is coyote sized, there's a possibility that a coyote might get defensive, especially around the den, to make sure that its pups are protected. So best thing to do in that kind of situation is basically just to keep on walking and leave the area. Coyotes really just want you to leave, and that's pretty much, they're just watching. They don't really want to do anything to you. It's an excellent reason to keep your dog on a leash. The biggest threat from a coyote is really losing your outdoor cats, and that's an easy fix. Keep your cats inside. One of the actual biggest threats from coyotes is to small pets. So, if it's about the size of a rabbit, which is a natural prey item for coyotes, that animal definitely needs to be supervised when it's outside, because if a coyote wanders in and there's no humans around to scare the coyote off, that could pose a risk to your pet. So small breed dogs should always be kept on a leash or immediately supervised.
Let's talk about neighborhoods, because there are times that people do feed them, which is not a great idea at all, because they lose their hunter instinct and they lose their fear of humans.
Coyotes are very opportunistic, and they're carnivores, but they're also perfectly happy to eat fruits and nuts and berries and insects. They can survive on pretty much anything. So intentional feeding is absolutely not advisable at all. And even unintentional feeding is something that we want to try to avoid, so that basically coyotes are going to be passing through neighborhoods on their way from point A to point B, but they're not going to be hanging around. Like I said, coyotes are opportunistic. So certainly keep trash secured, and that'll help keep raccoons and possums and other animals out of your trash as well.
Because they're opportunistic too.
Oh, yes.
Because so many people are like, oh, I'll just shoot a coyote if I see it. And I know you're not supposed to do that. Because
it depends on where you are. That depends on where you are. That could be legal, but maybe not necessarily the best instinct to problem solve. Certainly, if any wild animal is actively causing injury or immediately threatening to cause injury to you or your pet, the North Carolina law says that you can protect yourself in those situations. Unfortunately, it's really, really, really rare that a coyote would do that to a human being. That would be a situation that you might want to report to the Wildlife Commission and get advice, or do whatever you need to do in that situation to protect yourself. And there's a lot of wildlife that live and thrive in neighborhoods, suburbs, and deep urban areas. So never assume that wherever you are in North Carolina is too developed for wildlife to be there. There's a lot of fear out there. Coyotes are often interpreted to be much more dangerous to humans than they are in practical reality.
I'm Sheri Taylor for Neighborhood TV.